Hi, all my viewers. You are listening the Alpha King Love Stories, and I hope you will enjoy it. There is one request to all. Please subscribe my channel so I can share with you more stories. Your one subscribe are really mean to me. Now, please listen. Chapter 1, The Storm and the Whimper. The forest has a voice. It whispers in the rustle of leaves, sighs in the bend of ancient boughs, and tonight it screams. A tempest, born in the distant northern peaks, has descended upon my sanctuary with a fury that turns familiar paths into treacherous rivers of mud. Rain lashes my skin, 1,000 icy needles, and my clothes are a soaked, heavy prison. I am Lyra, the girl who talks to plants, the solitary soul of Oak Haven Village. To them, I am useful for my herbs, tolerated for my healing, but always an outsider looking in. Out here, I am simply myself. But tonight, the woods are not a comfort. They are a battlefield, and I am a fool for being on it. Old Man Alien's fever was the reason, a sickness that would not break, demanding the rare frost bell blossom that only opens in a lightning-lit ravine under a new moon. A healer's duty is a cruel master. It drove me from my warm hearth into the jaws of the gale. Now, lost and disoriented, each flash of lightning shows a world tilted and strange. The Elder's warnings echo in my mind with every thunderclap. Do not venture north. Do not stray into the territory of the Silvath. Wolf shifters of immense size and cunning, guardians of the forbidden mountains. Monsters, they say. I've always wondered if monsters were just stories told to keep us afraid. My boot catches on a submerged root. I tumble forward, the world spinning in a cacophony of wind and pain as I crash down a steep, muddy embankment. The air is punched from my lungs. I lie at the bottom of the ravine, gasping, a sharp, hot agony blooming in my ankle. The storm rages on, indifferent. I am alone, injured, and miles from home. Then, beneath the roar of the wind and the drumming rain, I hear it. A sound so small, so pure in its distress, it cuts through the storm's fury. A whimper. High, desperate, and utterly terrified. My breath hitches. I push myself up on trembling arms, ignoring the scream from my ankle. It must be my imagination, a trick of the wind. But it comes again, closer, a plea for help. Using a fallen branch as a crutch, I haul myself upright. The sound leads me to a tangle of roots at the base of a lightning-blasted oak. Another flash, blinding white, and in that stark, frozen moment, I see them. Two eyes, wide with terror, reflecting the electric glare. It is a wolf pup, its fur a stunning mix of charcoal and silver, now matted with mud. It is trapped. A heavy limb, brought down by the storm, pins its hind leg. A rivulet of rainwater is swiftly becoming a stream, rising around its small body. Every lesson, every fearful tale screams at me to run. This is a Silvath. Touching one is a death sentence. Being found near one is a war. But as those terrified eyes lock with mine, something shifts. The healer in me overtakes the villager. This is not a monster. This is a child, alone and drowning. My grandmother's amulet. The last thing I remember is the soft rhythm of its breathing and the steady, comforting warmth of the amulet against my skin. I don't hear the storm finally ebb. I don't hear the soft, almost imperceptible footsteps outside. I don't hear the door swing silently open. I wake to the feeling of a shadow swallowing the firelight. The room is cold, the embers dying. Gray dawn leaks through the grimy window. The pup is gone from my side. Panic seizes me. until I see it standing by the door, testing its weight on the splinted leg. It is looking past me, its ears pricked forward, its body rigid. Before I can speak, a voice cuts through the silence. It is low, quiet, and laced with a danger that makes the air itself feel thin and sharp. Where is the child? I freeze, my blood turning to ice. In the doorway stands a man, but he is like no man I have ever seen. He is tall, his shoulders impossibly broad, silhouetted against the pale dawn. He is dressed in dark-fitted leathers, and his hair is the color of ash, tied back from a severe, stark angles. His eyes, when they find mine, are the pale, piercing gray of a winter sky after a storm, and they are filled with a cold, terrifying fury. This is no hunter from Oakhaven. This is something else. This is the Alpha, and he has found me. Chapter 2. The Alpha's Claim. Time stops. Sound vanishes. There's only the pounding of my own heart and the terrifying presence of the man filling the doorway. He is a statue carved from mountain stone and winter wind. His gaze is a physical weight pressing me into the floor. I cannot move. I cannot breathe. This is the king of the Silvath, the monster from the stories, and I am holding his kin. His eyes sweep the room in an instant, the dying fire, my muddy boot cast aside, the herbal supplies on the table. Then they land on the pup, who lets out a happy, excited yip and limps quickly to him, nuzzling against his leg. His large hand comes down to rest on the pup's head, a gesture so protective and possessive, it makes the danger in the room spike. You. The single word is a blade of ice laid against my throat. You dare to touch what is mine? He takes a step inside, and the small lodge shrinks. I scramble backward until my shoulders hit the rough wall. My heart is a wild thing trying to escape its cage. I found him. In the ravine, his leg was trapped. He was hurt. I only wanted to help. Help. The word is a soft, dangerous snarl. He takes another step, his movements fluid, predatory. Your people leave poisoned gifts at our borders. They set traps of cruel iron. They hunt us for sport. And you, a lone human girl, claim to offer help? He is before me now, so close I can see the flecks of darker gray in his eyes, the scent of frost and pine that clings to him. His hand flashes out, his fingers wrapping around my upper arm. The grip is not crushing, but it is absolute, unbreakable. It is a demonstration. My own hand flies to his wrist, but it is like trying to bend iron. Please. The word is a desperate whisper. My grandmother's amulet burns, a searing brand against my skin. I would never harm a child, not in any form. Something flickers in his winter gray eyes. Surprise? The dark wolf, Valerius, falls silent, but his hostile gaze never leaves me. They don't seem to share Kaelin's opinion, I murmur, my voice barely carrying. The Alpha glances over his shoulder. They trust my judgment. For now, that is enough. Kaelin bounds ahead, and in a shimmer of light that makes me blink, he transforms. One moment he is a wolf pup, the next he is a young boy of perhaps 7, with ash blonde hair and that distinctive moonbeam streak on his forehead. He runs to a female wolf with unusual tawny gold eyes, who immediately begins nuzzling him, checking his wounds with palpable relief before turning her gaze to me. Her look is not hostile, only deeply, intensely curious. His mother, my brother's mate. She has been half mad with worry. A pang of sympathy cuts through my fear. I'm glad he's back with her. Are you? His tone is skeptical. Or do you regret losing your prize? My temper, frayed by terror and pain, finally snaps. I risked my life for him. I could have left him to drown or be taken by hunters. I carried him through a storm on a sprained ankle. If you are determined to see a villain, then nothing I say will matter. The wolves around us tense, but the Alpha merely looks at me, a new, appraising light in his eyes. You have courage. Foolish courage, but courage nonetheless. He turns. Valerius, scout the southern pass. Ensure our path is clear. Valerius hesitates, then melts into the trees with unnerving silence. Now, the truth. Your ankle is injured. I can scent the inflammation. I shift my weight, wincing. It's a sprain. I can walk. 3 miles, uphill, through thick forest. My heart sinks. I'll manage. Before I can protest, he closes the distance and in one smooth motion sweeps me into his arms. I gasp, my hands instinctively gripping the leather across his chest. What are you doing? Expediting our journey. His voice is calm, as if carrying a protesting human is an everyday task. I have no desire to spend the day watching you stumble through my lands. Put me down. I am perfectly capable. Are all humans this stubborn, or is it a particular talent of yours? He adjusts his grip, holding me securely. Save your strength. You will need it when we reach Frosthold. Frosthold? The name is a legend, a whispered myth. Your home. Our home. And yes, few of your kind know its name. Consider it a privilege. The way he says it makes it clear it is anything but. I fall silent, acutely aware of the solid strength of his arms, the steady rhythm of his heartbeat against my side. It is disconcerting, this strange intimacy with a creature of legend. Kalen, back in wolf form, and his mother pad alongside us. The she-wolf maintains a watchful distance. Does she have a name? I ask quietly. The Alpha's pace doesn't falter. Althea. She was once human, before she chose our way. The revelation stuns me into silence. The stories always said the Silvath were born, not made. He glances down, reading my astonishment. That surprises you? Your tales get many things wrong. It serves us to let the misconceptions stand. And you, I venture, emboldened by the bizarre normality of being carried, do you have a name, or shall I just call you Alpha in my thoughts? His eyes meet mine, a flash of storm. He hesitates. Theron, though you would do well to use my title before my pack. Don't thank me yet, Lyra. Your future among us remains undecided. With that, he and Valerius are gone. I sink onto a rock, alone with Althea. I am injured, miles from home, at the mercy of shifters, and now men from my village are threatening to shatter any chance of peace before it begins. All I can do is wait, and hope the Alpha King keeps his word. Chapter 3. The City of Stone and Mist. Time stretches, thin and tense. The forest is preternaturally quiet. Althea remains a silent, golden-eyed sentinel beside me. I think of the hunters, Gareth, the pragmatic leader, Bran, the older hunter who sometimes thanked me for a solve. They are afraid. They are protecting their homes from what they believe are monsters. I believed it too, until I saw the child in the wolf pup's eyes. Please, let him be merciful. A branch snaps. Althea is on her feet. Theron emerges from the trees, alone, his expression unreadable, but his posture less rigid. What happened? Are they... They are alive and retreating. Valerius ensures they cross the boundary. The air leaves my lungs in a rush. Thank you. He studies me. You care for them. Even after they sent you into a storm alone? It's not about caring. It's about the principle. About not becoming the monster they fear. You proved today you are more than that. A faint, almost imperceptible softening touches his features. I kept my word. Do not mistake it for weakness. I would never. The strength to show restraint was its own kind of power. Can you walk? I test my weight. The pain is a dull ache. I can try. He nods, respecting my choice. Then let us continue. Frosthold awaits. The rest of the journey is a blur of pain and staggering beauty. We climb higher, the air growing thin and cold. Theron sets a slower pace. Kaelin and Althea flank us. As we crest a final sheer ridge, the world opens and I stop dead. Frosthold is not an encampment. It is a city woven into the mountain's soul. Dwellings of pale stone and dark timber are built into cliffsides, nestled among ancient pines, spiraling around a central majestic hall that seems grown from the living rock. Waterfalls cascade down rock faces, their mist catching the light, creating the shimmering veils that give the city its name. Smoke curls from chimneys. It is breathtaking. I have no words. Not what you expected. A thread of quiet pride is in his voice. We have dwelt here since long before your people settled the valley. As we descend a winding path, people emerge. Actual people. Men, women, children, all moving with a fluid, natural grace. They pause to watch. Their expressions are a mix of curiosity, wariness, and hostility. News travels fast. Kaelin shifts back into his boy form. Uncle Theron, is Lyra staying? Can I show her the Glimmer Falls? Theron places a hand on his shoulder. Patience, Kaelin. Our guest needs rest. Go to your mother. With an obedient nod, Kaelin darts forward and wraps his small arms around my waist. Thank you for saving me. Then, he is gone. Theron watches me. He is fond of you. That complicates things. A woman approaches. She is tall, severe, her dark hair streaked with silver in an intricate braid. Her eyes are startling violet. I jump. Theron stands in the doorway. He has changed, his hair damp. His presence is just as imposing. His eyes go from my face to the book. I'm sorry, I was just... Overwhelming? He steps inside. Your sister told me about the Starlight clan. Is it true? He studies me. The amulet is genuine. The bloodline, while diluted, is likely true. It explains much. He gestures to my ankle. How is it? Better. Seraphina is skilled. We have our ways. The conclave is ready for you. Now? Now. His tone brooks no argument. Speak the truth, Lyra. They will know if you lie. He leads me to the great hall and down a wide staircase carved into stone. The air grows cool, scented with damp earth and torchlight. We enter a vast circular chamber. The walls are natural rock embedded with crystals that glitter. In a semicircle are 7 massive stone chairs. 5 are occupied. Seraphina sits in one. The other 4 are elders, their faces lined with wisdom, their eyes holding centuries. Their collective gaze is a physical pressure. Theron guides me to a simple stool in the center, before an empty, larger chair. His. He stands behind me. Lyra of Oakhaven. His voice echoes, formal. You stand before the conclave of Frosthold. You will answer our questions with truth. Do you understand? I do. An elderly woman with cloud-white hair and honey-colored eyes, Elder Anya, speaks. Show us the charm, child. My fingers tremble as I lift the amulet. A murmur ripples through them. The Starlight sigil, Anya confirms, her voice thick with emotion. There can be no doubt. A middle-aged man with a stern face and scarred knuckles, Elder Boren, scowls. A trinket can be stolen. It proves nothing of her blood. My grandmother gave it to me. Her name was Lyra. She told me it would guide and protect me if my heart was pure. She came from the north. She was afraid. Sorcha nods. The exact words of the Starlight Oath. They were guardians. Their power was in connection, in healing. Another elder, a woman with kind eyes named Yvain, asks gently, "What was your gift, child? Even as a human, you must have felt it." Plants speak to me. Their needs, their ailments, wounds, I can feel when they are wrong. I just know how to mend them. Theron speaks. The wound on Kaelin was from silver. It should have festered for weeks. Yet it was closing, clean. Her salve should not have worked so quickly. Not without an amplifier. All eyes turned to the amulet, then to me. I don't know how it happened. I just knew I had to help. The amulet felt warm. That's all. Anya looks from me to Theron. The evidence is clear. The charm, the knowledge, the accelerated healing. The blood remembers. Boren scowls. So, she is one of us. By blood, if not by upbringing, Anya states firmly. A quarter blood, perhaps, but the Starlight gifts were never bound by purity of lineage. They manifest in intent. I feel lightheaded. I can't change forms. The Starlight gifts were different, Seraphina explains. Not all shifted. For some, their wolf nature was a deep bond with the living world, a talent for mending. Your affinity, that is your inheritance. The puzzle of my life crashes together. My loneliness, my strangeness, it was because I was an outsider. My true home was my ankle heals completely, faster than any injury I've had. Your body knows this place, Lyra. It is responding to being home. The word home echoes. Was this home? It felt more like it than Oakhaven ever had. On the third day, I stand at the edge of the settlement looking down. Gareth's deadline is tomorrow. Return or be considered lost. The choice that seemed immense in the conclave chamber now feels simple. My future is not down there. I feel a presence beside me. I know it is Theron. Your thoughts are heavy. I was thinking about tomorrow, about going back. And I turn to him. The setting sun gilds his sharp features. I'm not going back to stay. I have to go, to explain, to gather my things, but I belong here. You are certain? Yes. He gives a single nod. Then I will arrange an escort for your safety. I don't think they would hurt me. I do not trust them to let you leave a second time, not now that they know where you have been. The protectiveness warms me. Thank you, Theron. Do not thank me yet. The path you have chosen is not easy. There will be those here who still see a human, and those down there who will see a traitor. I know, but it's my path. He is silent, both of us watching the sun vanish. When you return, there will be a gathering. The full moon rises tomorrow night. We celebrate the cycles. We honor those we have lost and those we have found. His gaze is intense. I would have you there, Lyra Starlight, if you choose to return to us. The use of that name, my true name, on his lips feels like a vow. I will return. In that moment, standing on the edge of the world with the Alpha King, I know it is the truest thing I have ever said. Chapter 6. The Leave-Taking. Dawn breaks over Frosthold in shades of rose and gold. A profound calm has settled in me, a certainty that has been absent my entire life. Today, I close a chapter to truly begin another. Theron is at the main gate with Valerius and 2 other warriors, Finn, quiet and watchful, and Nyla, fierce but kind-eyed. We will remain within the tree line. You will have your conversation. If you are not back by midday, we will come for you. I won't be long. There is little for me there. Trust your instincts, Lyra. They are stronger than you know. I turn and walk down the path, leaving Frosthold behind. The forest feels different. I can hear its subtle language more clearly. The warning chatter of a jay, the direction of the wind. My heritage is awakening. As I approach Oakhaven, the first people to see me stop dead. Whispers ripple outward. I keep my head high, my grandmother's amulet a familiar weight. Bran is the first to approach, his face a mask of relief and confusion. "Lyra, by the skies, we thought you look different." "I am different, but I am still myself." Before he can reply, Gareth emerges from the meeting hall, his expression hardening. "So, the wolves let their pet return, or did they send you back to spy?" A crowd gathers, faces curious and fearful. "They are not wolves, Gareth. They are people. I was free to leave." As we near Frosthold, the energy changes. A palpable anticipation hums. People prepare for a great bonfire, hanging shimmering lanterns. Kalen sprints towards us, his face alight. "You're back! Now you can see the gathering! It's the best night!" He pulls me toward the living quarters, but stops, looking at Theron with solemnity. "Uncle, may I?" Theron's lips twitch. "You may. See that she is brought to the great hall when the moon crests the peak." Kalen leads me to Seraphina's chambers. Inside, laid out, is a garment of soft gray wool, embroidered with silver thread in patterns that echo my amulet and the moon phases. "For you. It was our mother's. She would be honored to see it worn by a Starlight returned." I am speechless. She helps me into the dress. It fits as if made for me, like an embrace from the Alpha Queen who came before. When I am ready, Kalen escorts me to the great hall. The transformation is breathtaking. The vast space glitters with reflected candlelight from countless crystals. The entire population is gathered. As I enter, a hush falls. All eyes turn to me. Then, I feel a hand on the small of my back. Theron is there. He leads me to a place of honor. The message is clear. The celebration begins. Music from flutes and drums beats in time with the mountain's heart. There is dancing, wild, joyful movements that tell stories. I watch, mesmerized. Then, as the moon rises high and full, casting brilliant silver light, the mood shifts. The music softens. Theron steps forward. The full moon gathers us. It reminds us of the cycles that bind all life, of loss and of renewal. Tonight we remember those who have walked on into the eternal hunt. He names them, a solemn litany. Then his tone lifts, and the moon also reveals what was hidden. It guides home those who were lost. He turns, his gaze finding mine. Tonight, we honor one who has returned to her people, Lyra, of the Starlight line. A deep, resonant hum of approval fills the hall. It is acceptance. It is welcome. Tears prick my eyes. I stand and incline my head. The rest of the night passes in a beautiful blur. People come with kindness, sharing stories of Starlight healers. They welcome me home. Later, I find a quiet spot on a terrace. The amulet is warm, humming. "You look as if you have always been here." I turn. Theron stands beside me, silver light etching his profile. It feels that way, like a piece of my soul has clicked into place. The gathering is not just a celebration. It is a reaffirmation of our bonds, of our pack. You have reaffirmed your bond tonight, not through blood or battle, but through choice. That is a powerful thing. Thank you, Theron, for your protection, for your faith. You have earned it. You risked your life for a child not of your kind. You faced your own people with courage. You have embraced a legacy that would terrify most. He turns to fully face me, his eyes intense in the moonlight. "You are not what I expected, Lyra, Starlight." "And what did you expect?" "A victim, a spy, a frightened girl. I found a healer, a peace weaver, a woman of remarkable strength." His words fill a hollow space I have carried forever. We stand. Chapter 9. The Shadow in the Woods. Weeks melt into a peaceful rhythm. The memory of Oakhaven fades. I am a seamless thread in Frosthold's tapestry. My days are study with Seraphina and moments with Kaelin. My time with Theron has changed. Our walks are personal, quiet. We discuss leadership, the land, the stars. I see the weight he carries as a duty he loves. He values my perspective. A bond is forming, deep and unspoken. It is during one of these walks that peace shatters. We are on the northern ridge. A sharp, discordant feeling shoots through the pack bond, a jolt of alarm and pain. Theron freezes. Valerius's patrol. They're under attack. My blood runs cold. Hunters? Worse. The scent is wrong. It's not human. It's Blightwood. I don't know the word, but the venom in his tone is enough. He shifts into his wolf form in a blur and launches himself down the mountainside. I stand frozen, the echo of pain vibrating through me. I cannot fight, but I am a healer. I run to the healer's hall. "Seraphina, the Northern Patrol, they're attacked!" Blightwood, her face pales. The corrupted ones, Shadowfang twisted by dark magic. They have not been seen for a generation. We run, following the trail of distress. The forest is a nightmare of twisted shadows. We find them in a clearing, chaos. Theron and his warriors fight a group of other wolves, but these wolves are wrong. Their fur is matted, eyes glow sickly yellow, movements jerky. The scent of rot hangs heavy. Valerius is down. Nyla fights desperately, and Theron, he is a whirlwind of frost and fury. But one of the Blightwood wolves lunges from his blind spot. Its black, jagged claws rake across his shoulder before he can turn. A cry is torn from my lips. I feel his pain through the bond, searing agony, laced with something dark, poisonous. Saricha is already moving, shouting, but my eyes are locked on Theron. He kills the corrupted wolf, but staggers, his leg buckling. The wound is already turning purplish black, the flesh withering. The remaining Blightwood wolves vanish into the forest. The fight is over. The damage is done. I rush to Theron as he shifts back, pale and clammy. "Theron, the claw! It's poisoned! Blightwood venom!" Seraphina's face is grim. This is bad. The venom attacks the spirit as much as the body. She applies a poultice, but the black tendrils continue to spread. I can feel it through the bond. Theron's vibrant life force is flickering, choked by creeping darkness. The entire pack feels it, a wave of fear and despair. Their alpha is falling. No. My hands hover over the wound. I can feel the corrosive, hungry darkness. It is alive with malice. My amulet burns, not with warmth, but with a searing, urgent heat. I remember my grandmother's words, "It will guide you when your heart is lost." I close my eyes. I reach for the very core of my being, for the Starlight gift. I pour my will, my hope, my desperate love for this man and this pack into my hands. I focus on the memory of heart's ease, on pure, soothing energy. I imagine that energy as a brilliant silver light flowing from my heart, down my arms, into my hands. I place my hands over the wound. A gasp goes through those gathered, a soft, silver The peace we have known is over. The Blightwood is a threat that cannot be ignored. My people will look to me for strength in the fight to come." He turns to me, his face illuminated by starlight, "And they will look to you for hope, for the light that can push back the darkness. I cannot lead this fight alone. I do not wish to. Stay by my side, Lyra, not as a guest or a healer, but as my partner, as the starlight to my Silvath. Help me guide our people through this storm." My heart swells. This is my path. This is my destiny. I place my hand in his. "My place has always been by your side, Theron. My light is yours and the pack's for as long as I draw breath." His hand tightens around mine, a pledge sealed in starlight. Below, Frosthold sleeps. The future is shadowed, but we are no longer a lost healer and a lonely king. We are the Alpha and the Starlight, the shield and the light, and together, we will face whatever comes next. Chapter 11. The Weight of the Crown. The silence that followed our pledge was not empty. It was full. It thrummed with the weight of the promise, the shadow of the threat, and the terrifying, beautiful reality of what we had just declared. Theron's hand around mine was an anchor, solid and real in the starlit uncertainty. We stood like that for a long time, two silhouettes against the vast, dark tapestry of the mountains, the heartbeat of Frosthold steady and quiet below. Finally, he released my hand, but the connection remained, a taut, living cord in the space between us. "The conclave meets at dawn," he said, his voice returning to its practical alpha tone, though it was softer now, meant only for me. "They will have felt the disturbance in the bond. They will have questions. You must be there." A flicker of the old fear returned, standing before those ancient judging eyes, but it was quickly doused by a new resolve. I was not the frightened human girl anymore. I was Lyra, Starlight, and I had just saved their king with a power they thought lost. I will be. He nodded, a gesture of deep respect. "Rest. You have given more than you know tonight." He turned to go, then paused. "Lyra." I looked up. The starlight caught in his gray eyes, turning them to liquid silver. "What you did, it was more than healing. It was a revelation. For me. For all of us." Then he was gone, melting into the shadows of the terrace, leaving me with the echo of his words and the lingering warmth of his touch. Sleep was a distant country. My body ached with a profound, bone-deep exhaustion, but my mind raced. The sensation of the Blightwood venom, a cold, greedy nothingness that sought to consume light and life, was etched into my memory. And the feeling of the pack's strength flowing into me, a river of loyalty and hope, it was humbling. I had become a vessel for their collective will. The responsibility of it settled on my shoulders, heavier than any physical burden. Dawn came, pale and tentative. I dressed in the simple gray gown Seraphina had given me, the starlight embroidery a quiet declaration. When I entered the great hall, the atmosphere was thick with a somber energy. The full conclave was assembled, their faces grave. Theron sat upon his stone throne. After the conclave adjourned, Seraphina took my arm. "Come, there is something you must see." She led me deep into the archives, to a section even dustier and more secluded than before. She pulled a heavy, iron-bound tome from a high shelf. "This is not a book of herbs," she said, blowing off dust. "It is a history of the War of the Sundering, the conflict that created the Blightwood." She opened it to a horrifying illustration. It showed Silvath, but twisted, their forms elongated and predatory, eyes glowing with that same sickly yellow, attacking their own kin. "They were once us," Seraphina whispered, "a faction who believed our connection to nature, to the moon, was a limit. They sought to break it, to take power directly through dark rites and forbidden magics. They sacrificed their bond to the pack and to the living world for individual strength. It corrupted them, body and soul. What stopped them? A united front of the loyal packs," she said, turning a page to show a vivid painting of a great battle. At the forefront stood a figure surrounded by a nimbus of silver light, facing down a hulking Blightwood alpha. Led by a Starlight seer, it was their light, their deep connection to the true essence of life, that could purify the corruption. But it cost the Starlights dearly. Many were lost. After the war, the survivors were scattered, hunted by remnants of the Blightwood who blamed them for the defeat. Your grandmother's flight? It was part of that long shadow. The pieces of my own history fell into place with a grim finality. I was not just a lost healer. I was the heir to a legacy of a war that was not over. "They've come back for revenge," I said, my voice hollow. "And for you," Seraphina said, closing the book with a thud. "You represent everything they rejected and everything that can destroy them. You are both their greatest enemy and their ultimate prize." She placed a hand on my shoulder. "Your training is no longer about finding your place, Lyra. It is about survival, yours and all of Frosthold." The weight of the crown, invisible but real, pressed down. I had chosen this path, stepped to Theron's side. Now I had to be strong enough to stand there, not just as a symbol, but as a weapon and a shield. The Peace Weaver was being forged in the fires of a coming war. Chapter 12. The Forging. The days that followed were a relentless whirlwind. My peaceful routine in the Verdant Hall was over. Now my training was bifurcated, demanding and urgent. Mornings belonged to Seraphina and the deepest mysteries of the Starlight gift. We moved beyond plants. We worked with crystals that stored moonlight, with pools of still water that reflected not images, but states of being. She taught me to sense the weave of life energy in a room, in a person. I learned to identify the vibrant, healthy thrum of a Silvath in their prime, the softer, slower pulse of an elder, the bright, skipping rhythm of a child like Kaelin. "The Blightwood corruption," Seraphina explained one morning, her finger tracing a diagram of interlocking energy spirals, "appears as a tear in this weave." His signature was the easiest and the hardest. It was a mountain, a storm, a deep, resonant chord that underpinned everything. I didn't just find it, I was already attuned to it. "I feel you," I whispered. "In a fight, your eyes can be deceived, your ears can be overwhelmed, but the bond does not lie. You will feel the intention of an attack before the movement is fully made. You will feel the shift in energy as an opponent commits. This is your advantage. You are already connected to the battlefield in a way no human ever could be." He had me keep my eyes closed while he moved around me silently. My task was to point to his location using only the bond. At first, I failed miserably, disoriented by his proximity. But gradually, I began to sense the direction of his focused attention, the subtle ripple his movement caused in the energy around us. When I finally pointed directly at him as he stood behind my left shoulder, he made a sound of approval. "Good. That awareness will give you the heartbeat you need to react, to survive." These sessions with him, focused and intense, forged a new layer of our connection. It was based on trust, on his belief in my potential, and on my determination to meet his expectations. The quiet walks at dusk continued, but now they were punctuated by discussions of strategy, of the reports from scouts. of the unsettling silence from the deep woods where the Blightwood had vanished. One evening, as we looked out over the darkening valley, he said, "The scouts have found traces, old symbols carved into trees, markers. They are not hiding, they are claiming territory, moving closer." A chill that had nothing to do with the mountain air went through me. How much time do we have? Weeks, perhaps. Less if they grow bold. He was silent for a moment. "Lyra, when the time comes, your gift may be our only true weapon. The thought of putting you in that danger..." He trailed off, the uncharacteristic vulnerability in his voice squeezing my heart. "You once told me my place was by your side," I said softly, turning to face him. "That didn't mean only in the peaceful times. I chose this path, Theron, all of it. I will stand with you, and I will use this gift not just to heal, but to protect the home I have chosen." He looked down at me, the last light of day catching in his eyes, turning them molten. He didn't speak, he didn't need to. The respect, the gratitude, the fierce, protective pride shining in his gaze said more than any words could. In that silent communion, the partnership was sealed not just in promise, but in steel. The forging was complete. The Starlight was ready to face the coming shadow. Chapter 13. The Calm Before. A tense, watchful calm settled over Frosthold. It was the quiet of a drawn bowstring, of breath held before a plunge. The doubled patrols came and went with grim efficiency, their reports terse and worrisome. The Blightwood signs were multiplying, edging ever closer like a creeping stain.
"My mother's sanctuary," he said quietly, his voice softer than I'd ever heard it. "She was Starlight, like your grandmother. This is where she came to listen to the moon." The revelation stole my breath. His mother, the previous Alpha Queen, a Starlight. It explained so much. Seraphina's deep knowledge, Theron's instinctive understanding of my gift, the sense of destiny that had woven itself around us. "She planted all of this," he continued, gesturing to the flowers. "She said even in darkness one must cultivate beauty. It gives the soul a reason to fight for the dawn." He turned to me, the moonlight painting his face in silver and shadow. "I brought you here because this is what we are fighting for, Lyra. Not just for stone walls and safety. For this. For quiet places where flowers can bloom. For children who can learn without fear. For bonds that are not twisted by hatred. For the legacy my mother and your grandmother tried to preserve." Tears welled in my eyes, not of sadness, but of a profound, aching understanding. This was the heart of it all. The Starlight legacy wasn't about power, it was about preservation, about nurturing the delicate, beautiful weave of life against those who would rend it apart for their own gain. "It's beautiful," I whispered, my voice thick. "You are beautiful," he said, the words leaving him in a rush, as if he hadn't meant to say them. He looked momentarily startled by his own admission, his usual composure fractured. "In here," he clarified softly, his hand coming up to briefly, almost reverently touch his own chest over his heart. "The light you carry, it is the most beautiful thing I have ever witnessed, and the thought of that light being extinguished by the Blightwood..." He shook his head, the words failing him, but the raw emotion in his eyes was a language of its own. We stood there in the moon-drenched garden, the air humming with unspoken truths. The connection between us was a live wire, thrumming with a potential that both thrilled and terrified me. This was more than partnership, more than respect. This was a pull as fundamental as gravity. He took a half step back, regaining his alpha's mantle with visible effort. "Forgive me, I should not speak so. The burden is already heavy enough." "It's not a burden," I said, finding my voice. "Your faith, it makes me stronger. All of this makes me stronger. I am not afraid, Theron. Not of the Blightwood. Not of this." I gestured between us, my courage surprising even me. A slow, genuine smile, one I had rarely seen, touched his lips. It transformed his stern face, making him look younger, hopeful. Then we faced the storm unafraid. Together. He didn't touch me again. He didn't need to. The promise hung in the fragrant air, more binding than any oath. We stayed in the garden a while longer, in a comfortable silence that spoke volumes, drawing strength from the sanctuary his mother had left behind, and from the new, unbreakable bond flowering between us in the quiet before the storm. Chapter 14.
Those yellow eyes fixed on me, and I felt a wave of malevolent recognition. Starlight. The word wasn't spoken, it was projected, a vile whisper directly into my mind. It lunged. I stumbled back, my defensive training with Nyla kicking in. I sidestepped, feeling its intention through the bond, a heartbeat before it moved. Its claws whistled past my shoulder, tearing my tunic. I couldn't fight it. I could only hope to stall. I poured my will into the ground at its feet, not to attack, but to grow, to encourage the latent life in the moss and stone to swell and tangle. Vines I hadn't even seen erupted from cracks, whipping around the creature's legs. It wasn't much, but it bought the wounded warrior beside me a second to scramble away and for another Silvath to tackle the Blightwood from the side. I became a flickering point of light in the darkness, moving where the bond told me the pain was sharpest. I couldn't heal major wounds mid-battle, but I could seal a bleeding artery, counteract the numbing chill of a glancing venom strike, or offer a surge of strengthening energy to a faltering defender. Each act drained me, but each small victory, a warrior saved, a Blightwood distracted, fed my resolve. Then I saw him. Theron was a force of nature in the center of the worst fighting near the breached section of the wall. He fought in his wolf form, a giant of frost and fury, a match for 3 Blightwood at once. Valerius fought at his flank, a dark shadow of vengeance. But they were being pressed back, and I saw a 4th, larger Blightwood separate from the shadows. This one walked on 2 legs, a twisted parody of a human form, its body warped and hunched. In its hand, it held not a claw, but a jagged shard of obsidian that drank the moonlight. It raised the shard, and a wave of nauseating energy gathered around it, aimed directly at Theron's unprotected back. No, the thought was pure instinct. I didn't run. I planted my feet, ignored the battle raging around me, and focused everything I was, every lesson, every ounce of love and fear for this man and his people into a single act. I didn't try to shield him. I aimed my light, my starlight gift, not at the Blightwood, but at the corrupt energy coalescing around the obsidian shard. I poured my consciousness into that knot of wrongness. I didn't fight the darkness. I imagined it as a tangled, poisoned knot in the world's weave. And I poured in light, not as a hammer, but as a needle, thread, and a mender's gentle, relentless hands. Mend, make whole, restore. A silent concussion of energy erupted. The Blightwood leader screamed, a sound of shattered glass and rage, as the obsidian shard in its hand exploded into harmless dust. The backlash of corrupted energy blew back into it, and it staggered, clutching its head. Theron, sensing the shift, used the moment. With a powerful swipe, he dispatched one foe, then turned, his wolfish eyes blazing with understanding. He saw me, standing exposed, energy spent and swaying on my feet. A roar of pure alpha fury tore from his throat, and he charged the disoriented leader. But my intervention had drawn a price. The explosion of light had been a beacon.
From the periphery, 2 more Blightwood broke from their engagements and sped towards me, their intent to extinguish the source of their pain crystal clear. I was too drained to run, too weary to raise another, and so I did. I worked beside Seraphina, my hands doing the familiar work of cleaning and binding, but my focus turned inward. I reached for the subtler hurts, a warrior shivering, not from cold, but from the residual chill of a near miss from Blightwood venom. I placed a hand on his shoulder, sending a pulse of gentle warmth, chasing the shadow from his spirit. A young she-wolf, her legs savaged, her eyes wide with shock. I hummed an old tune my grandmother used, my fingers lightly tracing the edges of the wound, not to heal it fully, that would take time and herbs, but to soothe the panic, to whisper to her body that it was safe to begin mending. This was different from the frantic triage of the night. This was the slow, careful work of stitching a community back together. And with each small act, I felt my own drained spirit siphon a tiny bit of strength from the collective resilience of the pack. They were hurt, but unbroken. The bond, though strained, held. It was mid-morning when Theron found me. I was washing my hands in a basin of pink-tinged water, my back to the door. I felt him enter, a shift in the room's energy, a low hum in the bond that was uniquely his. I turned. He looked older. The strain of the night was etched in new lines around his eyes, in the tightness of his mouth. He had cleaned up, but a fresh bandage peeked from the collar of his tunic, and a deep bruise colored his jaw. Yet, his gaze as it settled on me was clear, intense, alive. "The count is taken," he said, his voice gravelly with fatigue. "We lost 7, 23 wounded, 5 gravely." He paused, the weight of the numbers hanging between us. "Without you, that number would be far higher. The scouts report the Blightwood retreated into the Deadwood Gorge. They licked their wounds, but they are not gone." I nodded, the horror of the loss a cold stone in my stomach. "And the leader? The one with the shard?" A flicker of grim satisfaction. "Wounded. By your light, and then by my claw. It fled, but it knows us now. It knows you." He stepped closer, his voice dropping. "Seraphina tells me you ignored my order, that you were on the wall." I met his gaze without flinching. "My place was where the hurt was. You taught me to feel the bond. I felt it screaming. Could you have stayed away?" A long silence.
"It's a vessel," I whispered, understanding dawning with a chill. "They didn't just leave an animal, they used it to carry the feeling of this symbol, the conflict. The message isn't in the cloth, it's in the energy they imprinted on this little one." I looked at Theron. "They're not just warriors of corruption, they're practitioners. They understand subtlety. They wanted us to feel their contradiction, not just see it." Theron stared at the kit, then at the cloth in his hand, his mind working. "A seed," he concluded, his voice grim. "They planted a seed of doubt, of confusion, to make us question the very nature of the fight. Is it light against dark, or are both necessary? A poison for the mind, not the body." He handed the kit gently to Seraphina. "Care for it. It is an innocent caught in a web not of its making." Then he looked at the cloth, his jaw tightening. "And this is a declaration. The war is no longer just for territory, it is a war of symbols, of belief. They seek to corrupt the idea of the Starlight itself." He turned his winter gray eyes to me, and in them I saw the weight of this new understanding. The battle last night had been for our walls. This small, strange delivery was a battle for our souls. My role was no longer just healer or